then it seemed to just fall apart for them.
It was about the burst of that Grumpjaw. We are going to be seeing the Grace banned on B side as the first ban. Vox does come through for Cloud9, which is a very strong pick for Old School, as we obviously already know, but Grumpjaw is still available for Team Solo Mid. I would expect that to come through here as their first pick.
Yeah, or TSM might even first pick Adagio, because Adagio as a lane carry is actually good into Vox, depending on his support and having like a tanky frontline like a glaive weapon or a Grumpjaw weapon, for example. Actually, they're going to go ahead and pick the Lyra, which is very questionable because Poison Shift Vox counters Lyra pretty hard.
Yeah, so Cloud9 starting off strong in terms of this draft. The Lyra, though, something that FlashX is, kind of known for at this stage. We see him pick Lyra as definitely a comfort pick and something that could go into a whole host of compositions.
Yeah, it's one of his most picked heroes. It's actually been his most picked across the last 2 seasons, so it is definitely a comfort pick there, but like you said, interesting to see them put the priority on that. They're going to ban away the Koshka, so they're still trying to leave the Grumpjaw open, I feel. I would expect Cloud9 to ban that away, but then they can go into either the Samuel or the Baptiste on the side of TSM. So just really smart drafting, once again, from both of these teams, really, as we normally see. And it's going to be interesting to see what Cloud9 decides to leave up and what they decide to take away.
Yeah, and I mean, smart drafting is exactly what you expect from the 2 teams that are the best in North America.
Yeah, I think Grumpjaw or Adagio will be the smartest bans. They may change it up and ban something like Glaive, for example, but I think Grumpjaw or Adagio should be the bans coming out of Cloud9 here. Even though W has fallen off, it's still strong if you have the right composition. So they're going to ban Idris instead. So that leaves Grumpjaw and Adagio both open. So let's see what TSM's going to pick. I think Grumpjaw would be a good pick here and play Weapon Grumpjaw, and then they can just play a Mage in lane here, or a CP carry in lane.
Yeah, we'll see what the option is going to be. Honestly, it's surprising to me, how far through the draft Grumpjaw has been making it today. We've seen a lot of bans for him, but when he isn't banned, teams seem almost nervous to pick him up. I feel like most teams have got their head around how to play around a Grumpjaw. Ringo is going to be the lock-in, though.
Yeah, we saw actually Cloud9 pick Ringo against Gangstar's Rakizaur's Vox and won with it. So Ringo might have a resurgence here because of the slight nerf to Vox. Ringo with Poison Shiv actually is, I would say, even. It's more of a skill matchup. He outranges Vox and definitely is stronger in the early to mid game because of that range and that attack speed that he has on his Twirling Silver. So here we have Grumpjaw open still for Cloud9. We have Baptiste open as well. They're going to go ahead and take the Grumpjaw here, and I think potentially they might go with... Oh, they're going... Wow, they can take Grumpjaw and Baptiste. Not what I expected, but nice draft by Cloud9.
And either of those could be a captain either. That's... both are viable as captains. I feel like Captain Baptiste probably has a higher success rate, but, these are the best teams, arguably, in the world. So, we'll have to see what they're going to go with on this one.
Yeah, I would have a slight leaning towards the Captain Grumpjaw, because if you're using the Baptiste offensively with just how much massive burst he can have, you can take this Ringo out of the fight, negate the healing from Lyrax. She is very good at healing sustained damage or short bursts of damage, but these massive bursts that come out of Baptiste are very difficult for the Lyra to deal with. Kestrel as the final pick. This is going to be very likely a CP Kestrel in the jungle for Von C, which means this is going to be a very exciting game.
It certainly will, and if he can run away with it like we've seen Von C do on Kestrel many times in the past, it'll be a 2-0 victory to TSM. Now, Ringo actually has a 100% win rate this season in the Vainglory 8. Now, he has only been picked once, but it was by Cloud9, so we'll see whether Best Chuck can kind of rub that in their faces. But looking at the compositions then, how are we feeling this draft has panned out?
I think the TSM wins the range game, but honestly, Cloud9 has a lot of gap closers. They have Baptiste, they Ordained, they have Grumpjaw that can go in there, and then Vox. I think Cloud9 has a better draft, so I'm going to give the game to Cloud9 here.
Okay.
I think TSM's going to take it. I think they have the damage to deal with Cloud9. They only have the one really way of locking down a target by getting onto them with the Grumpjaw. The Ordained, Baptiste needs to get in range of the heroes of the side of Team Solo Mid to be able to put that down. And there's a good chance that if he does get that close, they can just stand their ground and fight him toe-to-toe at that range. So I do think Team Solo Mid should be able to have the advantage.
All right, well, we have a split desk here. Let us know who you are voting for once more using that hashtag Vainglory8. We'll see whether TSM can get a second consecutive win here in the North American Vainglory 8, or whether Cloud9 are going to be able to push this to a 3-game series. Let's head on into this game.
What an amazing introduction, Munchables. You never cease to amaze me. Just so classy up there. But yeah, guys, we are in game 2 here. TSM, if they can find the win, they can close this one out. Now we see Gabe, he's got the Batiste early on here, Scoundrel, and he's having none of these shenanigans from Flash. He just slaps him with that bad mojo as soon as he tries to walk across the map.
Actually going to head to mirror Flash, who wants to get a lot of pressure in lane early on here, give Best Chikane the best opportunity to put pressure onto the Vox. Remember, we talked about in this broadcast already how Ringo is supposed to have that advantage over Vox in lane because of the ability to trade after killing a minion using your heroic perk and the range advantage that you have. I want to talk about the compositions in general though, Humanist. We were chatting about it as the draft went on. This is a triple ranged into Batiste. Very difficult to get Batiste into a position where he can use his Ordain because he's classically pretty good at shutting down hyper-mobile melee carries like Koshka and Glaive. Not the case against triple range. He might struggle here.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could struggle to find maybe the easy Ordains, but he's still going to be a threat. Like at any time where the gap closes or TSM look to move in to finish off a target, can easily get that off. And we'll see. Also, it's going to be Joseph, you know, grabbing a target, pulling them back into a bad position. Then Ordain is beyond easy to apply.
Yeah, I mean, it works so well with Grumpjaw, but it does rely on Joseph to be able to get stuffed. And I think realistically, you're going to want to be able to use your Crucible to block the stuffed, right? That's probably the main thing that you're going to be using Crucible for. Maybe the silence from the Vox. The ideal combo from C9 would be Vox silence into an immediate stuff from I Love Joseph because no one can respond to it. Then spitting someone out into the Ordains. That would be the ideal combo there for C9. It's about getting into range to make that happen though, Humanist. You've got to get through Bright Bulwark. You've got to get from the insane range that Von C has got on this Kestrel. Triple ranged is a pretty good shout, I feel, into this kind of combination from C9.
If that combo happens, I'm just gonna start yelling.
Yeah, I think I'll do the same.
just start freaking out. 2.5 minutes in here, though. We have both our laners just continuing to farm. They did have one round of shopping thus far. Best Chuck doing a pretty good job just hanging out here, but it's Old School who has a slight advantage on him. You don't see Ringo really flexing at all, abusing his range advantage early on here. Gabe, got to be careful. He's dodging a Glimmer Shot or two. Pretty good job.
Yeah, nice juking there. Makes it very difficult for Von C to line up those Glimmer Shots. Poison Shiv looks like it's going to be the item for Old School. That makes absolutely 100% sense, obviously, as you would imagine. Poison Shiv's so good at dealing with Lyra's healing, and it's pretty much a must-buy, and also becomes part of Vox's standard item build these days regardless. Like, I see a lot of Voxes in general go for Poison Shiv first. I go for Poison Shiv first.
Well, everything sounded good until you said that one, then I started to question the build.
Yeah, I mean, but Poison Shiv's good not only into healing heroes, but also good at securing single target kills against the Fountain as well. So has its uses despite even beyond healing compositions from the enemy team.
I mean, honestly, like I think when you grab it as your first item, it is so good, obviously into healing, right?
Yeah.
But I think as an item itself, as your first item, nothing else really sustains you as well as that. Like, just the ability for you to keep yourself in lane, it goes up exponentially just by purchasing that item.
I mean, lifesteal, weapon power, attack speed, it's like the perfect item for a lot of heroes in the game that want all of those things. And Vox is a person that wants all of those things. Just has that added benefit of giving those mortal wounds as well. So, yeah, I agree. Completely on your page there, Humanist.
Best Chuck's going to grab Tension Bow first here. How are you feeling about that?
Damn, that is a burst Ringo. This is old school Ringo, Humanist. This is Ringo before I even joined.
No, that's Best Chuck.
Hey, this is a Ringo build that was around before I even joined Vainglory. You'll probably remember these kind of Ringo builds. This is designed to snowball that early game, but this is probably more in line of trying to synergize with Von C, looking for single target burst. So that's why I imagine that this is a first item tension bow coming out.
This is the original Gwen right here. This is before Gwen existed. This is how you could do Gwen things.
Exactly. This is before Gwen came through, before you had the heroic perk that synergized so nicely with Tension Bow. Ringo used to do these kind of things, and I think about a year and a half ago, I was being told of times where Ringo could win games in 8 minutes with Tension Bow, so...
Oh, it's so troll. Whenever, like, a noob wants to 1v1 in lane with, like, a Ringo, Always go Tension first. That just smashes them. But right here, I'm curious to see how it's going to work out for Best Chuck. 60 last hits, 5 minutes in to the 57 of Old School, so they're doing pretty good on both sides. Net worth dead even, and we're still 0-0. Goose eggs as far as the kill score. Joseph jumps in. Interesting approach there, Joseph.
I was looking for the stuffed, obviously, on Best Chuck, who doesn't have a reflex block yet, so it would have been a free stuff, though. Joseph can still make that happen under turrets, however. Vonsi not quite in the vicinity to help contest that. But Best Chuck able to get away with both his boots and twirling silver. The movement speed bonus is there, getting him out of range. But it does look like it's going to be a return.
Flash takes a lot of damage. Joseph's going to move forward. Oh, bright!
Oh, baby!
Oh, Flash X. So beautiful.
That made me happy. That bright bulwark right there made me happy from Flash X. Absolutely shut I Love Joseph down in tracks. Who needs reflex blocks when you can do it with bright bulwark? What a play there. And now TSM going to look to push off the back of that ultimate use. Vonsi has still got his one shot, one kill. Can come to lane and start to spam those abilities, but doesn't look like they're going to get much love here.
Well, not a lot of love. He'll move into the jungle, look to get some more gold. Vonsi, I'm excited to see what this Kestrel's going to do in the next few minutes here, as he's starting to get some pretty good CP up. On the flip side, it's going to be, increasingly important that Gabe Vizsla continues to keep vision down across the map. And I'm curious to see if we do see Contraption actually come out here. I don't know if he can afford to do that. What do you think?
I mean, you feel like you need it versus a CP Kestrel, right? Especially Vonsi's CP Kestrel. So I'm 100% on board that I think that he should be thinking of a Contraption, but you do need to consider the likes of Atlas Pauldrons versus Ringo. But I think Contraption is probably more important just to keep tabs on where Vonsi is. If you let him roam without the vision control to help keep tabs on him, he's just going to absolutely destroy you in team fights. So we'll have to see where he chooses to go. He's actually going towards a Dragon Heart, so maybe... yeah, going away from that might be going towards a Crucible here.
All right, well, we'll keep our eyes on that as time moves forward.
Treads. Sorry, or War Treads, Humanist. Because
right?
They want that movement speed.
I mean, War Treads actually is a very good item pickup for him, for his team. I mean, you talked about being against a range composition. If you can give your team one more tool to help get on top of a target, I say that's what you do.
I agree. I think War Treads is a fantastic item to pick up because it helps get I Love Joseph into position more effectively, helps get him to the backline to use Stuffed, gets you into range to use Ordained. I mean, this is War Treads into Ordained. It's a good way of delivering the Ordained to a ranged composition. So yeah, I agree. I think War Treads is a really good itemization choice for Gabe Vizsla when he's pretty close to getting it. They get their gold mine, so you expect within the next 50 gold, Gabe Vizsla will be securing those War Treads and looking for fights.
Ooh, Glimmer Shot actually starting to hurt here. Old School. Moving back. War Tread's going to be picked up, as you said. Glimmer Shot's going to come through. One of the fronts, actually both fronts going the way of Old School. Vonsi tried to grab one of those. TSM rotating down, not able to really grab anybody, not collapsing in time, so they're just back up into the lane, where you do have the rest of C9 taking the jungle, while Gabe Vizsla looks to hold the lane here. He's going to throw Fearsome Shade, connects out onto Vonsi. I mean, it might have bought them just enough time to keep this turret alive, actually.
Yeah, I don't know how necessary it was. I still think Old School.
No, that turret was dead if he didn't do that.
Yeah, okay, maybe you're right. I think it could have been the case. It was very close either way. It was probably the right decision because they're not looking to fight around this point anyway, and I don't know how useful his ultimate's going to be regardless because it's all a ranged competition. The ultimate's really good against preventing their Lee engages. He's probably pretty happy to just use that to clear and buy time on the wave.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have to get into another big skirmish before that's back off cooldown, be a big win for him. Joseph with the Crystal Infusion. Best Check with the level 6 Weapon Infusion. Did you call that out already? That's pretty crazy.
No, I mean, that was something that's very early. I didn't actually even notice, to be honest, because it's such an early infusion for Best Chuck. Has invested so much into his offensive capabilities as well. He's picked up a Poison Shiv of his own. He's working towards what is likely to be a breaking point now, basically replacing the Sorrow Blade in his build with the Tension Bow this time around to give him a bit of extra early burst.
Pretty good damage coming out onto Old School there. No, he's not going to get baited in, doing a good job. Gabe Vizsla finds the Ordained onto Flash. Flash on the front side, got to be careful. Actually, just holds his ground as Old School taking the damage.
Whoa!
Wait, a wild ride in. The one-shot's not going to connect here. Joseph trying to fight in the damage, but quickly has to retreat. It looks like a bit of miscommunication coming from Cloud9.
Yeah, again, they didn't quite know what to do once FlashX had committed to that, and this is going to give TSM the time to capitalize on this turret and take it away interestingly, you don't have to get kills to win a teamfight, Humanist. The amount of damage TSM did there and forcing the fountain made it impossible for C9 to be able to defend their turret, which ended up giving it over to TSM. Gate won that teamfight without even getting a kill because they got the net global advantage off the back of it.
I mean, that's pretty clean gameplay, and I think, you know, like a game where you have 20 kills in 10 minutes, very exciting. It's also something really cool to watch, just a really clean game like this where they're able to take objectives without actually, you know, finding kills on the map. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. This is sort of really clean, what we call in cross MOBAs is what we can really clean macro-orientated play. You don't need to get dragged down into skirmishes. You do it purely through pressure that you create. Using the, and what I love to see as well, Humanist, is they use the advantage of their composition against C9 to levy these kind of wins. I mean, C9 have got away with 2 gold mines, though, Humanist, which is still putting them in lead in terms of gold. I don't know how TSM are letting these go so easily, but they are, and that's probably something that TSM might come to regret.
They just weren't in position before. Strange positioning there. Vainglory actually connecting pretty good onto Old School, but it's going to be Joseph on the best chuck, and he's going to move in with the stuff. First blood, 11 minutes in, they finally kill Vainglory. You're in a tough place, bud. Get out of there. Fearsome Shay's not going to allow him to do so, and Cloud9 moving forward here. They're going to try and take the turret as well. They're going to get this turret. Scoundrel, what a phenomenal series of events here for Cloud9.
No idea what that move was from TSM, unless it was looking for Vainglory to get an active camo stun onto the Old School's Vox there, but I don't know what that move was, especially without Flash X. Best Chuck was completely isolated with that reflex block of his own, and so easy for I Love Joseph with this burst-orientated build. Again, we haven't talked about I Love Joseph's build here, but he's gone that Tension Bow Aftershock build that we saw Xenotech try to pilot earlier on the Grumpjaw. You leave Best Chuck alone, Best Chuck and A alone with that, he's going to get completely destroyed, and I Love Joseph managed to clean up that kill, and suddenly Cloud9 have turned things on its head. 2 gold mines that they were given for free by TSM, kept them in the running in terms of global gold, and now they get a turret as well, and suddenly they're staring down the barrel of 3,000 gold in favor of C9.
Yeah, a huge turnaround for Cloud9. I'll see what TSM are going to do in response here, as it does give Cloud9 kind of control over the middle area of the map. I mean, it's not even kind of, like, they have control over the middle area of the map. The vision is down, and there's no contraption like we talked about earlier on. Gabe's gone for different items, but he's continued to get the vision down, which is incredibly important.
Looks like TSM are trying to freeze the wave to force C9 to respond by trying to push it, and they're setting up big active camo stuns potentially here to put pressure on if C9 were to come to lane, but essentially what they're doing is they're saying, C9, you either come to us and try and play into our range advantage, or you have to start taking things elsewhere on the map. And that elsewhere on the map happens to be Crystal Sentry and TSM's backs, and that's exactly what C9 are doing.
Joseph over the wall. They're going to take the backs away as Vainglory was making his rotation down. A very good job, C9, so efficient here in the last couple minutes, just to deny almost everything away from TSM off the map. And what's crazy is TSM was trading like completely toe-to-toe evenly with these guys for the first 10 minutes of this game.
You would argue that TSM even had the advantage. The only reason that they gave it up is because they gave 2 free gold mines and then somehow made a play with just Best Chuck and A and Vainglory trying to somehow catch out Old School. They completely gave up what makes their composition good by getting Vainglory into basically melee range versus Old School, and Flash X wasn't there to help protect and peel for them.
Well, I mean, I saw the beginning of that fight, and it's because Vainglory lit Old School up so hard and so fast that they got baited into trying to fight. I think the problem was Best Chuck didn't commit with him at that point, but then you're just in too deep.
Yeah, he couldn't get past I Love Joseph though. That was the problem. He wanted to commit, but I Love Joseph blocked that entry, and then took out, Best Chuck and A solo.
Gabe Vizzle zoning here, just throwing out those bad mojos. Vainglory trying to connect with the Glimmer Shots. He does have the double Shatterglass build ready to go, sitting on Crystal Infusion as well. There's respectable damage output. It's going to connect onto Gabe. Actually, that didn't look that respectable when it hit Gabe there.
Yeah, but it's not as good, that double Shatterglass build, because of how early I Love Joseph and Old School have itemized into Aegis. So suddenly you lose some of the effectiveness of going for a double Shatterglass. You know, Vonsi's probably thinking it might have been better for me to now pick up a Broken Myth because I'm now facing a lot of shielding here, Humanist. Old School and I Love Joseph both picked up Aegis really early on. The shielding is already starting to stack up, and that's really, really reducing the amount of damage that Shatterglass is bringing to the table as a second item on top of another Shatterglass.
I think that's a really good point. Scoundrel, my question is to you.
Hello.
You know, TSM on the back foot here. Cloud9 has been setting the pace of the game. Should TSM continue to just wait and let Cloud9 do things and react to them, or should they start to make like an offensive move?
Well, they can't let C9 do what they want. They let C9 have all the gold mines so far, and it looks like C9 are going to be able to put pressure onto this Kraken. What is so beautiful about the way that C9 have managed to orchestrate this is that TSM now have to move up to C9, effectively getting rid of what makes their composition so good in the first place. The composition of TSM was so good because they had that big range advantage over the C9 guys. But now TSM are forced to try and move into melee range. And you can see they are actually... Oh, well.
Okay. Flash is going to take the Arcane Passage. I really don't know what to say about that, except for he seemed to be the only one that was thinking about playing games with the Kraken there. And
apologies if you
really
can hear horns going off in the background of my...
Oh, we can. It's a bit unprofessional, but we're not going to call you out on that.
it's not me. I'm literally in a almost a hotel or Airbnb, and there's just...
You're casting from a parking lot?
I'm casting from a parking lot, and someone is honking their horn. It's happening. I just got to deal with it, really. Just like
I thought it was new in-game sounds. I thought it was actually pretty clean. Burst my bubble here. I Love Joseph moves forward. Choke point turret's going to be down. Team solo mid. Feeling a bit flaccid here. That's Cloud9 just putting the hurt to them.
And again, TSM were reluctant to commit to Kraken to try and contest it because they can't they can't be the ones to engage. What they do is they win from range before teamfights take place. They do a lot of work to C9 to put them out of action, and then C9 can't commit. TSM cannot go gallivanting into the middle of a team fight like they have some sort of frontline, because they don't. They don't have a frontline. They can't make that kind of play, Humanist. They have to be saying, well, we win from range because that's what we have aimed to do here as a triple range composition. And C9, because of the control that they've got now, Humanist, is just so clean watching them play because they can force TSM to come to them. And that's exactly what C9 want. C9 want TSM to come to them because TSM then lose every advantage that their composition gives them.
So pretty much C9 are doing pretty good, huh?
They're doing pretty good, dude.
They're doing pretty well. Old School, I mean, it is a pretty big chunk of Old School's health that gets taken off from those one-shots. As we do see Piercing Shard picked up from Von C. He's got the Clockwork, still sitting on that CP infusion. Now, there's still a chance here.
Oh, I mean, this is still moderately even. I mean, it's still definitely in favor of C9, but not a massive stomp that we saw in some of the previous series. I mean, TSM have every opportunity to make a comeback in this game.
All right, active camo's down. Actually, they throw the flare. They're going to see it, but they just stun up Gabe Fizzle as they move back. Another active camo down. We see Von C doing a good job to keep these down as Team Solo Mid continues to disengage and retreat. They've rooted up Old School, basically EU Treant connecting here. Maybe the demise of Cloud9 is... Actually, this is the Shades coming out, the Fearsome Shade. Gabe Fizzle is taking a lot of damage. Best Chuck, dude, out of position. Just pulled out of position and shot down. The Arcane Passage is going to buy a little bit of time.
He got blown up!
Old School just got blown up, bro. They've done such a good job to keep the vision down, but it failed them there. I Love Joseph. He's actually gonna to turn around. Doesn't want to play games with Flash there. That was pretty crazy. They had really good vision the whole time, and then Von C gets an active camo down that they didn't quite see.
Joseph's struggling with this trio right here. Will eventually get it. And it was a 2 for 2, and TSM will take that kind of trade. Bestchukane made the decision in that fight that he thought it was better for him to basically run at Old School, do as much damage as possible. Maybe it might have been better for him to kite away, but that might not have set up that active camo trap that Von C had set up off the back of the portal. But what a beautiful play for TSM to keep themselves alive in this game, because had they lost that team fight, that's TSM out and we go to a 1-1.
Well, everybody likes the game 3 though, Scoundrel.
Oh, dude, especially when it's as hypey as this between two amazing North American teams.
Oh, my goodness. Team Solo Mid holding on by a thread here. Von C, you know, one active camo away from losing that game. That's insane. They're going to get the Atlas Pauldron off onto Old School over here, but Old School just retreats back. We're gonna have one shot connects onto Gabe. They're taking pretty good damage. That's like first Hellfire Brew I've seen. Fearsome Shade will come through, connect onto Best Chuck. Is that an Echo? Fearsome Shade Echo? Oh, this is the best game I've ever cast in my life. Old School stunned up, Glimmer shots coming through. Flash on the front side, Best Chuck. Come on, Best Chuck, stand your ground. Where's the trolling star?
Oh,
that's OP. One shot. Oh, that's the one that they needed right here. Best Chuck wants that booty. He chases Old School down. Twirling Silver, he's got that move speed. Get in there, but a Sonic Zoom. Oh, he just trolls him out, wasting his time. The rest of Team Solo Mid starts in on this Kraken, right next to the pile of corpses.
That piercing shot has been such a blessing for Von C because he's starting to do damage again. And when he gets Broken Rift, that's only going to be even more impressive. He's got the gold ready to combine it. This will be a massive item for Von C. And now you've got to the point where I Love Joseph build starting to not do as much damage as it was in the early game. This is where Grumpjaw starts to fall off. And Best Chuck NA with that breaking point stacks up so nicely and has a Full Metal Jacket as well to complement that on the opposite side of the field that Old School has got. C9 suddenly starting to look down the barrel of a very, very powerful TSM composition.
One shot knocks that Slumbering Husk onto cooldown early on here in this fight. And it's going to be a second for Joseph. That's a pretty big defensive tool for him. As Team Solo Mid have flipped this one around. They're going to take the choke point turret. And do they hang around? Are they going to play some games? Joseph, he's stuffed up. He's got Flash. Best Chuck just hanging back on that active camo. Well, this is going to be Flash in a interesting place. Did he try to Arcane Passage and get canceled out of that one? He does make it through at the end. Von C just throws another one shot. This is TSM just throwing damage out from range. As you said, that's where their advantage lies. Fountain's going to come out with Joseph taking quite a bit of damage. Best Chuck trying to stutter step, getting pretty good job onto Old School. Old School will go down. They're going to lose Best Chuck as well. Are they going to lose Best Chuck?
Oh, look at the
heal. They get the kill. They turn it around. This is Best Chuck. This is Team Solo Mid. What are you talking about, Cloud9? What are you thinking? You cannot afford to make mistakes against a team of this caliber. Team Solo Mid turning this one around. When a scoundrel thought we were going to game 3. No way, dude.
Oh, dude, I thought it was the case, but C9 weren't able to put enough pressure on the early game. I don't think they capitalized off that snowball enough. They gave TSM too much time. Von C was able to get that piercing shard on board, and suddenly he was starting to get through some of the shielding on the front line of C9.